Okay, we're live. It's Thursday afternoon at 3 PM. Hi everybody, I'm Long Steve. Welcome to the AquaStax hour. Let me turn off my monitor window here. Don't need that. Just checking the stream's gone live. So, where's time gone by, eh? I'm going to say that at the beginning of every stream. It's going to be, where did time go? It's Thursday afternoon again. So, somebody's joined already. Hi, Frankly444. So, the question is, live coding support, CP live coding TV support. So, one of the new things I've been doing this week is writing a little chatbot for myself. Actually, I'm going to bring up my OBS window and make sure that it's announcing people as they arrive. I made myself a little bit of code, and it pops something up on the screen when someone comes into the chat room. You can rate me now. This is live, real-time feedback. So one of the things I've been wanting to do is try and get people to give me some feedback as I'm doing stuff. So if you type !rate and then a number between 0 and 100 in the chat window, it will rate me and you'll get a bit of a pop-up on the screen. And what it does is it totals up people's ratings and just keeps an average. Give it a go if you like. If I have any feedback, yes. Do that first. Well, no one's tried the chatbot yet. No one's tried the rating function yet. So it's like 0 at the moment. You can also type in CLOC, count lines of code, and that'll tell you how many lines of code is in the project at the moment. My AquaStax game. I didn't notice anything happened there, but still, we'll keep going. Steve's new rating is 5%. It should be popping up something on the screen, but I can't see it happening. I'm going to have to quickly check that. So thanks for the rating, but it's just proven that my did it work? I didn't see it on my stream or on my monitor window. Something pop up? I'm going to try it myself. Let's see if I can do it. I'm going to give myself a rate of 10. No. Okie dokie. When you said it would. I'm going to try that again. I'll quit. My bot's called Tim. I'll start him again. Let's see if it works. So he's come back in. There he is. Aha! So he's now welcoming the people. There he is. Something's flashing up on the screen. And if you type in a rating that's greater than 50%, I think you'll get some fireworks. Let's rate again. I'm going to do a rate of 10. There it is. Yes. Now it only shows the average rating. So 2 viewers are rated, and the average is now 8. So that's quite quick. If I rate myself 100, it'll shoot up a bit. Yay! And we get some fireworks. What I'll do is I'll put my own rating back down again, so it's a bit more realistic from what people are doing. It should queue them up as well. I'll do another one in a minute. There we go, right, so you get to see that. Hopefully it won't distract me too much. It's at least now working. So where were we? I was recoding my old game. If you've looked at the stream page on Live Coding TV, you'll see it. It's an old mobile phone game with blocks dropping down from the top of the screen and little guys walking around and water flowing up to drown them. Right at the end of last stream, I had actually got some blocks on the screen. So there we've got some blocks that we're drawing using triangles. I've got a sprite there, and we worked out some dimensions and things like that. Today, I plan on see if I can get those blocks to move, fall down the screen, and then use keyboard input to move them around. Probably won't get much further than that, but we'll see how it goes. So just trying to remind myself where I was. Was watching some of my old stream back, but I haven't had a chance to annotate it yet. It's been a crazy week. I've been doing so much stuff. Right. So I was drawing triangles and I was putting them in a loop. That's right. I'd figured out that it was going to be 14 blocks wide, and so there are 14 along the bottom there, and we worked out some sizes. We did a whole load last week actually. We refactored the source code, so I've got a config file. I think, is it a config file? Yep. So I determined things like screen sizes and things like that. Actually, I should probably put some of the static or constant values that I'm going to use in that config file. So let's go with block size of 50. So that's 50 pixels by 50 pixels, a block being a very small square, one of these small squares down here. And they're drawn of two triangles at the moment. So let's go and add block size to the config. Someone's just joined. Live Coding TV support again. Now I can see the little pop-up occurring, so I should be able to announce people as they come in. If you follow me, by the way, when you join the stream, you get some fireworks when you come in. And I think you get a more friendly rating, or a more friendly greeting from my bot, Tim. And also, if you follow me, you should get some fireworks at that moment. So where was I going? Block size in pixels. Single square block will be drawn with two triangles. So now I can go and refer to this as aq.config.blockSize. Hello, welcome. For now, I'm just going to do that. I'll probably end up refactoring these into a bunch of different files and utility functions and other things at some point. Okay. Hey, lots of people coming by. Block size, and we also have grid size. So block size is the size of an individual block. Grid size is going to be how many of those blocks fit across the bottom of the screen. So it's not the bottom of the screen, it's the bottom of the gameplay area. And aq.config.grid size. Did I call it grid size or grid width? Grid width. Yeah, that'll probably do for now. That's 14. Got my copy and paste back. Anybody who watched my earlier streams will realise I couldn't copy and paste, which is pretty hard to program if you can't copy and paste. But it was to do with an old copy of a Windows remote desktop client. For some reason, when I was running the remote desktop client, couldn't copy and paste. Anyway, it's grid width. Right, so that's probably all the constants I need to worry about for the minute. There's border size there. Well, I'm not too keen on the border at the moment. Let's just, you'll notice that the border, where it's drawn around the polygon, it kind of sticks out there, little pointy bits and stuff sticking out. So we'll probably end up drawing these triangles and using a different mechanism to draw the borders around the edge at the end of the day. So now I want to get these things moving. So I'm going to need keyboard input, and I'm going to need movement over a game update. I could use animation, so we could probably just add an animation action of some kind to it, just to see a block move around on the screen, but that's not what I ultimately want to do. I want to run the game logic off of an update loop, and the blocks are going to drop down, and of course every position that they change to is going to need lots of work to calculate where they are on the screen, what's behind them, whether they're going to connect or fall or slide or break or do all the other things. So let's get rid of these for now, and where are we? I want to draw a triangle, a couple of triangles in the middle of the screen. In fact, if I make a drawBlock function, then I can do I want a position on the screen, don't I? For now, we'll just do drawBlock XY. Oh, hello, Mango4412. I can see the little pop-ups occurring now. They're just off screen for me. I've got a second monitor attached to my Mac. For the past few streams, I've only had one monitor, and my other two monitors have been attached to my PC. Now I've finally got another cable, got a second monitor attached to my Mac, so I can drag stuff off screen if I need to. Although at the moment all I've got on the second screen is just the welcome pop-up. So what was I doing? I was doing a drawBlock, and I'm going to position on the screen. So we want to just basically draw a triangle. What's border? That's screen panel width. Yeah, we'll leave that like it's now. And that's the X and Y. There we go. T. So we want border plus block size 0.3. I'm going to remind myself what 3 was now. Coming back to this code every week, I totally forget what I've been doing. So 3 was a triangle that's like that. So we want a 1 and a 3 to be drawn together to draw a square. So we've got that, we've got 1 and a 3. And if I just do, we don't need block size, that's always going to be 0. Do I even care? The border is also something I probably don't want to worry about at the minute. So it's just going to be 0, 0. Is that going to be 0, 0, or is it going to be block size? If I do that, I'll end up with just a row of blocks. So it's still doing the loop. Get rid of this loop. Get rid of that. Oh, thanks for the follow. Now, didn't know. The following doesn't happen instantly. The following, so the little code I've written that runs Tim, my bot, he will check about every 30 seconds to see if I've got any new followers. And when he spots you, you'll get some fireworks. There we go, some fireworks. Thank you very much. I noticed the follow first because I've got another window over here with the web browser in. So I got the push notification from Live Coding TV. I should probably turn that off because it's just going to distract me. So I was trying to draw a block on the screen. So let's just do drawBlock. Actually, that's going to be X and Y, isn't it? I'm taking a moment to get into the swing of things. Had a big meeting this morning. Went out for some project work, and my brain is a bit addled. Even forgotten my key press. So let's get the console up. Oh, X is not defined. X and Y, of course it's not. I'm also excited about my new bot. If you're interested in the bot code, it's on GitHub. Ooh, welcome after design. Nice icon. He fetches my bot fetches icons from Live Coding TV as well. There we go. So now we've got the make that a bit bigger. I'll bring it to the top of the screen slightly. I'm working at the bottom of the screen on my thing. It's all going to be off the bottom. So there's a block at 0, 0, and that's actually going to be pixel positions. So if I specify X of block size, right, then we've got another one along there. Yeah, so it's shifted along a bit. And if I do block size, it's obviously going to be let's see. There we go, it's splitting in the middle. So if when they appear, they're obviously going to appear at the top of the screen in the middle. So let's work that out first. So it's going to be, and it's the bottom left, isn't it? So the block is bottom left. So how am I going to want to describe my block positions? Well, we'll leave it like it is for now. We want to do so grid middle, let's call it. Grid center, middle, I don't know. Grid middle equals, it's going to be grid width, and there are 14 of them, so if I divide it by 2, that's going to be 7, isn't it? So I guess we'll do that for a moment. And then we do grid middle times block size. So there's one almost in the middle. And now we want top of the screen, so we want, oh, hello, lonely boy. Welcome to the stream. I'm just about to position a block at the top of the screen. So that's going to be, oh, we don't actually know how many grid cells. We know there are grid width is 14. But we want to know about the grid height, don't we? Let's see. So that's going to be the screen height, or in our case, win size.height, isn't it? Or no, it's not going to be win size.height. I want to make it independent of win size. So we're in a panel at the moment. We're in a screen panel, and the nodes are the draw node is added to the screen panel, isn't it? So screen panel must have a height which we set somewhere. Actually, we'll get the screen panel height. Most of this code isn't throwaway, but I'm not writing it in such a fashion that I'll end up using it like this in the final thing. I'm just sort of getting my head around all the different bits. So we want the actual height of this red panel here. So we want screen panel. Oh, we want height. Let's call it grid height, but it's in pixels. Screen panel dot get content size dot height. Hopefully that's going to be a number of pixels, and then we divide that by grid height equals pixels divided by block size. We want that integer division really, or at least math.floor it so we get an even number. And then we should position the block at grid height minus block size, because it's bottom of the block. Let's see where that puts it. Oh, down there. So I guess I'm getting nothing out of that at the moment. Let's just debug this into, where are we? We're in menu. Mac R to refresh. So grid height in pixels undefined, yeah. So screen panel get content size dot height. I don't know if you use screen panel dot width. Maybe I can do that instead. Maybe it's not get content size. Let's just do screen panel dot height. So screen panel dot height, yeah, so 960 pixels, okay, that gives us 19. So that's the grid height. Yes, of course, that's 19 grid squares high, and so we know it's 14 wide, we know it's 19 high, so that means I'm going to need draw the grid the same as I did here, so it's grid height times block size underscore size. And if I do that, it should stick it right at the top of the screen. Are we still in the debugger? Yes. There it is, right at the top of the screen. Actually, it's slightly off the screen. So when it comes on the screen, minus block size. So if we were actually doing a Tetris-like game, that's where the block would start, or actually it would come in from the top of the screen, but it would kind of appear there. Now I want it to move down the screen. So movement or animation in Cocos2d-JS, I need to schedule an update that gets called every frame. Or, well, I suppose I could just do I'll do a quick animation first to see what it looks like. But I have a feeling that, although it might look fine, the actual controlling of the movement with the keys and stuff isn't going to work when I have actions and animations and things going on. So we did a bunch of animation before somewhere. It was in my splash screen. Here we are. So what I did was I used a MoveTo action with a bit of easing, and then you run the action, and that occurs on the node. So let's borrow this for a moment. Back to menu. So we've got drawBlock. So that's put block on the thing, and I guess it's the whole node I'm going to want to animate. I'll do it before I add it to the scene. So move action. So MoveTo gives you a time and an X and Y position. So if I move it to 0, and then I move it to something that's coming along. Hello, EDRIOQ. Is that Q? Yes. No idea how to pronounce that. 0, and it's going to be the center. So it's going to be. Actually, that's going to be. That's the Y. That's the X position. That's the Y position. I guess we have a bounce, and then we just run the action on the draw node. So, oh, it's going that way. What did I do there? That's X and Y. Is it X and Y MoveTo? Maybe it's not. MoveTo. Duration, position, and Y. Yeah, with position is going to be an X and a Y. Like X and Y. Maybe if I put it, that's not going to matter there. I don't know why it's doing that. Very interesting. And if I do that, it's not going to go the other way, is it? Yeah, it's going up. Is it rotated? I haven't rotated the blocks anywhere. There's no coordinate system going on. Don't forget you can rate me with the bot, and we can also count the lines of code. How many lines have I got now? 632. So why on earth is that going up when I'm telling it to move to with an easing? Let's not worry about the easing. We will just do that. And it moves up. It's not relative to where it starts from. If I move it, I'd have thought move to would be an absolute, move to an absolute position. Surely there's move by if you want to move relative to where you start from. Here we go. Ooh, somebody new. Hi. This is where I'm going to get to later when I'm going to do some keyboard input. I was just gelling up on how you do keyboard input. What I want to do is find my old animation event. I probably shouldn't care about this because I'm just going to get stuck on worrying about why it's moving in the wrong place. It was cc.moveTo. Ah, yeah, it's off of the cc namespace. MoveTo, there it is. Create a new action. So it's position and Y. I suppose I could pass it a point, couldn't I? Not that it should make any difference. Moving to the specified coordinates. So if I was moving to 0, 0, I would expect that animation to move to the bottom left, but it's doing nothing. Okay, interesting. Unless drawn, okay, maybe the actions don't work on draw node. Maybe they work. I don't know. It was moving. They definitely do it. See, there's move by. Relative to its coordinates moves a certain distance. So that was if I was expecting it to pass 0, 0. That's where I expected to move to nowhere and not do anything. I'm definitely doing MoveTo, but it's not going anywhere. Oh well. Let's ignore that. Let's figure out how we do the actual update manually. So I'm going to need. Might as well Google it. It's been a while since I've done this. Cocos2d-JS animation updates. I found that the docs difficult to, they don't tell you any. I mean, there's API docs which kind of assume you know what you're doing and what you're looking for, and there's tutorials, but they kind of a bit long-winded. They go through stuff, and they're also not based on Cocos2d-JS. They're all based on Cocos2d-X, which is C++. But a bit of googling should give us something. I mean, let's see what it says. Skeletal animation sprite. No, that's not what I want. I just want. It's not animation. It's I guess it's update loop. That's what I want to call it. Update loop. Games from scratch programming. Update loop. So handling updates. Game loop. Yeah, I know all about that. This is C++. Schedule update. Ah, now I remember. So schedule update, and that will presumably trigger your update function every time you the game loop runs. So if I just do so that's setting the callback self.scheduleUpdate. There we go. Schedule is the update method. This will use order number 0. This method will be called every frame. So now we have to make an update method. Okay. Back in the day, we would have one monolithic update function that updated everything. I can see we're going to have lots of different update functions dotted around the place. So in this update function, I want to move my draw node around. So I'm going to have to store the draw node in the object. Buttons, labels, panels, blocks. I'm just going to call it draw node for now. And where do I create it? There. Self-divide. So draw triangle. It probably isn't going to work, is it? Because no, it might do. I should actually create a new block class. We'll probably do that in a minute. Start writing this code in a new class. drawBlock. And then we add the draw node there. Update. So all I want to do in here, let's just wibble the x and y around a bit every frame. So if we do var x equals 0, let's do delta x. Actually, the original x is going to be grid middle times block size. Again, it's a bit of a contrived way of doing it, but it'll let us see some movement on the screen. So let's go OX equals that. And then, somebody didn't disturbed. Hello. Hope you're not too disturbed. Self. So we want to do delta x equals. So what do I want to do? If I do delta x equals 0, actually we want to. For now, we'll just stick an x. Dx 0. Delta x. Do I want plus plus? Now we'll just increase it. I know what I'm going to do. If self.dx plus plus is greater than 100, self.dx equals minus 100, and then we want to do self.drawNode.x equals original x plus math.abs self.dx. And that should cause it to wang about sideways. That's not doing anything. Dx equals minus 100. Should just increment it and then decrement it again. So it just keep moving backwards and forwards. But it's not doing anything yet. Oh, somebody new. Binboa, hello. Good to see you. Still no ratings yet. Anybody rated me? Just two of us. Just Frankly and myself. So only 75% at the moment. let's see. Let's just double check that that's actually being fired every update. Schedule update and then an update function. Maybe it's not. So grid middle is not defined. Oh, what did I do? Grid middle. Of course, it's up there, isn't it? Grid width. That's also up there. Going to need a few more of these constants, I think. People coming and going. See the names on the on the screen. Grid width. If I define these in a class, then we'll end up with var grid middle equals grid width divided by 2. Block size is undefined, so that's going to be block size. Can't set x if undefined. So self.draw node hasn't been. Did I actually define it up here? Yeah, I created it. Oh, self hasn't been defined, of course, has it? Finally, we're going to get there. I should probably have my build window sitting there. It would probably tell me these things if I hadn't had it hiding away. Never mind. There it is. It's moving around, although it's not quite doing what I expected, but it's close. Right, it's moving. It's also, yeah, it's moving in the x direction, right? So x math.add self.dx, and let's go. OX, grid middle, grid width divided by 2. Grid width is, it's not, it's grid width. Did I do the same thing there? No, it's grid middle times block size, isn't it? Where it's drawn. Yeah. I didn't do that. Self.dx. Equals 0. It's just going to sit there in the middle. But it's moved over there. Why did it move over there? Is that original position not remembered? I'm just trying to figure out if it's remembered the original position. Oh, somebody else has joined in. drawBlock, grid middle times block size. Grid middle is grid width divided by 2. Yeah. Grid width is that. Block size is just block size. A lot of programming by trial and error. So it's stuck in the middle of the screen. And if I change the x, now it moves over to the right. So OX is obviously different, isn't it? Let's just debug this and see what I'm doing wrong. I can't see the wood for the trees at the moment. So OX is 350. Self.dx, set that to 0, so it should be 350. But up here, where are we drawing it? drawBlock. Reload that. Grid middle is 7 times block size, which is 50. 750 is 350. So that's where it's drawing it initially. And can't see it. Debugger's paused, but now we're trying to draw it at 350 as well. But it seems to have moved it. Very unusual. Why is it drawing it over there in the update function? It's not drawNode.x isn't absolute. I assumed that was going to be if I set drawNode.x equals 0, 0 in here, y 0, then I'm expecting it to appear in the bottom left hand corner of the screen, but it's up there. So how are these not moving? I'm trying to set the absolute position of x and y, but it's not moving it around the screen. Must be missing something here. Let's take a look back at the docs. It's similar to what was happening before. cc.node has got the anchor, it's got the x and y, rotation, scale, skew, x position of the node. And I presume one can just set that, or maybe there's a function you have to call that draws it. Maybe you have to convert to node space. There's points. Let's see. There's get position. I imagine there's probably a set position as well. Set position. Let's just try set position and see what it does instead. Set position. Zero, zero. It's not doing anything at all. It's not moving it to 0, 0, that's for sure. So, what am I missing? I mean, if I draw it at 0, 0 up here, so I'm actually moving the node. Am I doing... What am I doing here? I wonder. I'm getting confused. I think I'm moving the node around, but the draw node doesn't do anything. It just draws the coordinates that I told it to draw, and in my case it was so now I'm getting very confused. But I think trying to move around the draw node isn't the thing I want to do. I need to move the coordinates of the triangle that I'm drawing, which is going to mean updating the draw node vertices that are used to render it every frame. Okay, that's something I could do. Sounds a little complicated. Kind of what I want to do is draw a triangle and move it around the screen. I could do a sprite, I suppose. I could render a sprite that's a triangle and move that around. That would probably be a bit more easy to understand. Let's just see if there's anything in the draw node that I can do to get the coordinates back out. I suspect that'll be rather too complicated. So, draw. Yeah, it's just literally a node, but it's the drawing commands you pass it the coordinates are absolute, or at least they must be set somehow. If I set that to 0, 0 is obviously the position is relative to where you're drawing the node. Just out of curiosity, let me try that again. Remind myself what it did. So it kind of moves it off up there. Oh, well, this isn't going so well. What about keyboard input? I suppose I could try keyboard input as well. I was going to try that. So we haven't got very far with the movement yet, but the next thing I was going to do was try some keyboard input. So we'll ignore that. I'll do a bit of learning for next week, and then we'll figure out why the keyboard isn't working. Oh, hello, Mysterio92. Oh, hello. So he stopped by, but he's not in the list. I wonder if people are watching but not joining the chat, if that's even possible. I don't know. Where do I want to go to? I want to look at my docs again, and I was looking earlier at events, and new for Cocos2d-HTML5 v3 is an event mechanism, and by the looks of it, I'm going to want to start with, at least I'm going to want an event list in the keyboard. Might use mouse as well at some point. Here's an example. This is touchscreen code. I want to go down to the keyboard code, and so I have to add an event. I have to add an event listener of a certain type. Here we are. Order event dispatch handling method. Keyboard events. Keyboard, it can be very useful. It also can be every menu of the device. Don't understand that. So what we're doing here, add an event listener to status label. So is that, this is a label, so it's recognizing the keyboard. Okay, what if I add an event, so I'm going to add an event listener to my menu here, and let's see what it does. So paste this in cc.eventManager.addListener, and we're passing it an object to configure it. So we want keyboard event, and we're going to pass it on key pressed. That's a key code. So what I can do is I'll just do self dot key pressed key code. Do I care about the event? Not at the moment, no. And then on key released, that's the bottom of the object. Status label, we're going to add it to self. Now, let's see. Let's ignore the update function for a minute. So if this works, then what I'll need to do is I'll need to store the keys pressed and released states in an array or something, a map. And then every update I can test whether or not a key is pressed or released, and then can move something around the screen based on that information. So it's a key code and key released. So if I don't know what the key codes even are. This uses a bit of, oh, someone else has joined. Nice icon. I guess I could just dump this out and see what the key codes are. Keycode.toString was pressed. Keycode.toString was released. Let's just try that. Aha! So I'm pressing the up arrow and it's got 38. And 37 to the left, 39 to the right, 40 to the down, something like space. Let me guess, 32. Yes, there's ASCII key codes. There's probably a constants or some set of defines somewhere which define what those constants all are. Let's just see if I can do a search for key code. Key code. Search results. Nope. Unless it's match case. Nope. So they're all over the place. Aha! So we've got some cc.key defines. This is used by the widget code by the looks of it. Here we go. D-pad up and down. So there's already some. Let's jump in and see. Here we are. So inside of this Cocos2d-JS engine file, there's cc.key, and it defines the key codes, which hopefully will be common across all different platforms. Spacebar, yeah, there's 32 space. I want, for now I just want D-pad. Oh, that's gamepad control. I don't want D-pad, I want up, down, left and right, I suppose. That'll do for now. So it's cc.key.up and down. So they're numbers. What I can do is I can just define an array. Let's call it keys pressed. Now, actually no, do I want an array or an object? Array will do. So I can do keys pressed key code true, and then it's going to be self dot, and of course I'm going to need this. Self dot keys pressed key code equals true. It's keys with S. Console, don't need that. Self dot keys pressed key code equals false. And down in here, well, let's maintain, if I maintain a dx and a dy, actually I'll move these down here so I don't have to keep jumping up and down. Dx, dy. At least it is going to move it from one place to another. So, don't need that. And it looks like if self dot keys pressed cc.key.up. Oh, hello, Ada Martinez. Good to see you. 3:45. Going to carry on for a bit longer. Haven't had much luck today writing anything interesting. I'm trying to figure out how to move the draw node around on the screen, and it's not been doing it right. But now I'm trying to do with keyboard input. So key up, I just want self.dy. I'm going to increment plus equals 1, and then else if keys pressed, key down, self.dy minus equals 1, and then we're going to do the same thing for the left and right keys. Keys pressed left, dx minus equals 1, and right, dx plus equals 1. Now this will probably go shooting around really fast if it's running at 60 frames a second. So all I need to do is just set position dx dy, and I think that'll kind of basically make it relative, draw it relative to where I'm moving around the screen. See, nothing's broken. Oh, we're still in the breakpoint. Oh yes, moving it. Let's get rid of that. And it's moving around on the screen. So actually it's still running at 60 frames a second, so it's moving 60 pixels every second if I'm holding the key down, and at least it's moving. I wonder if I'm drawing if I put the draw node, if I put it at 0, 0, so actually the triangle and my draw triangle at x and y, my draw block, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my block at 0, 0 on the draw node. So let's keep that for a moment. So draw block at 0, 0, but if I position the draw node to where I want it on the screen, which is going to be self.drawnode.x equals that, and self.drawnode.y equals that, then nothing will change at the moment, but it might go back to no, so the draw node 0, 0, but the draw node .x and y really isn't doing anything, is it? And now I can't even move it. Oh, I have to click on the screen. There we go. Why didn't that draw it up top of the screen? Maybe you have to position it grid middle times block size, draw block 0, 0. So not only are these nodes anchored, there's no anchor point, so there's no anchor point on the draw node. It doesn't look like its position chain makes any difference, but it's moving somewhere, but I'm not actually So I'm calling setPosition down here. Maybe I can do that again here. drawNode.setPosition. I wonder if, I bet just setting X and Y isn't a good thing. I don't know why. It's kind of working in other areas. Definitely drawing panels and things before adding them to the scene. But maybe the draw node needs setPosition to be called. Yeah. Go straight down there. My update, is it still doing something? No? So, oh no, the dx and dy are 0, 0. Of course, what I want is, so yes, so it's actually, I did notice it quickly flash. You may not have noticed it based on the frame rate of the stream, but it quickly flashed at the top of the screen, and then it goes down to the bottom left because my update function is going to set it at 0, 0 the first time it comes through. So now I can actually set dx, dy to be delta x and delta y from the original position. So if I do p equals self.drawNode.getPosition, it's hopefully going to give me a point. I can then do set, and I can just do p.x plus equals dx, p.y plus equals dy, and set position to the point. Hopefully now it stays up there, and I can move it. Ah, welcome Selmac, nice icon. No, it's not moving. Why isn't it moving? We have set position p, get position. Ah, Fantasy Maker as well. Hi, good to see you. Just going to bring up my live coding panel there. Got a few viewers. Not everyone appears to be in the chat according to my screen here. Now, room occupant. Yeah, I wanted to be blue. Not hanging around. I guess I'm pretty boring today. So why did that not move then? Let's take a look at p.x. inside, let's debug inside the hello. There we go. Thought dx is not defined. What am I doing? Self. Now I should get it right. And we're moving. Oh, and it's going nice and fast. Of course, now I'm adding delta x and delta y. Oh, there it comes. See if I can get it back on again. Because dx and dy are now increasing and decreasing, so I'm effectively setting a velocity on the block and moving it around the screen. Lovely. That's going to disappear off somewhere and probably crash in a minute. If keys. So if self. What do I want? If key up. I just want it to be equal to 1, don't I? And if it's down, I want it to be equal to -1. Else, I want dy equals 0. dy equals 0. Now we want dx equals 1, dx equals -1, else dx equals 0. So if the no keys are pressed, there's no velocity, and got to click on the screen. There we go. Now we're moving it around again. So left and right's not working all the time. What did I get wrong there? Dx equals 1. Actually, I want the left is going to be -1. Right is going to be +1. Up is 1. Down is -1. Else, do I want that? Yes, so I can still go left. I'm not going left or up. Self.dx equals -1. If keys press left, -1. Else. Oh, I didn't do that. Else. And another else. There we go. Now we're going to get somewhere. Let's keep clicking. Yes, I can move the block around. So that's at least something. Move the block around, and it's nice and slow. Now let's see if I can move it one grid cell at a time and snap it to the grid cells. That way I can sort of move it around. Obviously in the final game it'll be fluidly moving around, but if I add, so it starts off at a certain place, it starts off at zero. Let's start it off at 0, 0. Put it in the bottom left for now. So bottom left. And move it around. Let's see if I can move it by. So what I want to do is move it by one grid cell, and then probably cancel the key press, or else it's going to be moving really quickly. So I'm going to figure out the grid width and height again. Grid blocks. It's block size I want to move it by, isn't it? Yes. So if we go up, we want to move it by one block size. Go down. But what we also want to do is we want to clear keys pressed after every key, don't we? So let's do clear keys. And that's simply going to be for now self keys pressed key. Oh no, it's key up equals false. Don't seem to want to be maintaining my my tabs and spaces and stuff very well. Up, down, left, and right. Okay, so once we've moved it, if we clear keys, it should hopefully just give us one key press to move it by a block. Nope, I'm doing anything at the moment. What did I do wrong? Console cannot set properly 38 undefined. Self.keys pressed. cc.key.up. What's undefined? Keys pressed. Yeah. Ah, maybe it's because I haven't defined those. Yeah, the array doesn't have them in yet. Oh no, it's because I haven't done self. Only doing this once a week, I end up totally losing track of what the conventions are for the different things of code I'm doing. There we go. Now we're moving a number of blocks around. Okay, that's good. I can hold the key down because it looks like there's a repeat going on. So welcome Emerson JDS. So up the keyboard repeat is obviously going on here because I'm clearing the keys every update, but it's still looping, or still repeating. So, okay. So what the next thing to do is, what I want to do is draw the grid in the background, because where you have block dropping games, you want the dynamic block that the user is controlling at any one time to be falling down the screen, and you press left and right to shift it one grid square at a time. And usually you want that to be pretty quick. So actually, imagine that was dropping down slowly. I want left and right to shift it one grid square at a time. You don't want that to be a slow animation or a slow move sideways. You imagine Tetris took its time to move the blocks sideways as you were moving down. Now you don't want that. You just want the thing to shift along at a fair old rate, and whatever the key repeat is or something else. But the vertical movement can be smoother. That doesn't need to go one block at a time. But what you need to do is make sure that there's a static data structure in the background that's maintains the blocks that have already landed, and at any given point you want to know where the moving block is going to be within that static structure, and also you want to be able to draw where it's going to land as a little indicator or something like that going on. So let's people coming and going now. It's 4 o'clock. People coming back from college and school, I suspect. So I'm going to carry on for a bit longer now. I've actually got something that's working. Thanks guys for hanging around for the whole hour so far. Really appreciate the viewers. Don't forget you can rate me using Tim, my friendly bot. Oh no, that one gets help, isn't it? That's right. I'll watch myself back later on and figure out the commands that don't work and what should work. If I draw the grid like I did before in the background, let's have another draw node, and I shall get it to draw all the grid. I might as well draw it using triangles to start with, and I can draw it using lines. That way I can get the, let's go back there, yeah, that way I can get the grid. If I have a grid drawing function, then I can probably put that into my grid class at a later date. So let's see if I can, so I've got draw triangle, I might as well just have a draw grid function. Let's do it before all that. So that's where I start the draw node. I'm going to have another draw node. I'm going to call it grid actually. Self.draw grid. Grid. And then I'm getting a bit big now. I'm going to have to refactor this. Of course, it's no longer a menu anymore. It's just my my scratch pad of code in different places. So bot is also good for spamming. Yes, you can dump in and out. It's all my own code at the moment. There are some bots that I looked at, see what they did. I might have been able to use them, but I wanted to sort of play around with writing my own code. I can put in some code that stops it repeatedly displaying someone's icon if they come in and out too many times. That'll all be fun, I'm sure. You can spam the rate as well, but it doesn't. It does actually queue up the animations, and I think it stops after about 5 of them. So you can keep spamming the rate command if you like, but it'll only display up to about 5 animations. Anyway, what was I going to do? I'm going to draw a grid, wasn't I? Draw grid. Function. In fact, the grid is going to be self.grid equals new cc.drawNode. Now, drawNode probably has some line functions, doesn't it? Draw grid. In fact, I'm probably going to want to put these underneath here for now. So let's go back, just briefly remind myself of what drawNode does and whether or not there's a line. There's bound to be a draw line, isn't there? That's the most basic of drawing commands. Draw segment, draw rect, I suppose that might work. Draw dots, draw poly. Draw quad Bezier, draw rect. Is there no draw line? Draw line, there's a draw circle. It has a draw line to the centre, but no actual draw line, blimey. Guess I'm going to have to draw it using rectangles then. There's a segment, to and from, like, yeah, that must be it, surely. Draw a segment with a radius and colour. Well, a segment is a segment of a circle, like a slice of pie or something like that. No, that's not quite what I want. I could try it, I suppose. It doesn't seem to have an angle going on there. Draw segment, let's just try that. Draw grid. So what we want to do is self.grid.draw segment py equals cc.p00 p2 equals cc.p I guess it's going to be screen panel dot width. For now I'm just going to do a line across the screen, screen panel dot width, screen panel dot height, draw segment from and to line width color. So P1, P2, line width 2, and oh, somebody do. Hi, how's it going? We've discovered you can spam my bot by coming and going from the stream. I'll be fixing that up in some code this week. And then it was color, wasn't it? Optional color, cc.color. Is there a constant? cc.color.white. That'd be nice. And then draw grid for now. Self.child self.grid. There he is. Oh, of course I'm not adding it. I want to add it to the screen panel, don't I? I shall refactor that at some point, call it game panel, I think. There it is. So there's our line. So yeah, draw segment is in fact draw line. Oh, that wasn't obvious, but glad I figured it out. Just give us a 1. Because see, yeah, that's certainly visible. Okay, so now I can draw my grid by looping over the width and height. So what we want to do is 4 loops for var x equals 0, x is less than. This is where my border is going to come in, isn't it? If I figure it out down here. There it is, border. I could possibly borrow that and put it back up here. Screen width, screen height, border. One thing I can do with my bot is if you've already joined the stream, and then left again, I can tell him to stop welcoming everybody. But at least something's going on. Things on the screen. So I want x is 0, x is less than. So I want grid width times block size x plus equal block size. And then if I draw from x0 to x screen panel dot height, that'll give me a load of vertical lines on the screen. There they all are, lovely. So not quite all of them though. So I actually probably want to be. I want as many as to draw the grid. I want to do that, don't I? Yeah. There we are, and also now I want to shift them by x plus border, which was the difference between the actual screen width and the number of pixels, where I decided to have 50 pixels per grid square, and the screen width is 720, I think, or something like that. It's not an even number, so my border is going to be the gap at the left. They're nicely in the middle, and now I can do the Y's. Let's copy and paste. See if I get this wrong. Almost guaranteed. Fancy to make us back again. You're going to get your name on the stream loads of times. It's grid height. Do I even have grid height as a thing? No, so what did we do with height? We were basically going to figure out what the grid height was. I did that down here, didn't I? Grid height pixels. I can borrow all this. These constants I shall stick somewhere in the grid class eventually. So yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll create a grid class. That'll definitely be where all these things are. So we want so grid height is the number of blocks high, isn't it? Yeah. So grid height, and y plus equal block size, and then we want border plus 0, just border, isn't it? They're going to be from the left and they're going to be drawn to the right. Border 0. What am I doing? I'm doing the horizontal lines now. So the y is going to be y, isn't it? Border y, and then border plus screen. Actually, it's going to be grid width times block size. So that'll be the point on the right, and then that's also going to be y. Block size, bracket there, and then people won't be doing it. Look at that, it's almost spot on. I must be drawing them, so I'm drawing them from the bottom left. Let's move my block out of the way. And they're going up too high, so they're going border. No, that's X, isn't it? And Y. Grid height. Y should start at 0, and the first point is 0 Y, and then it's confusing myself. So there they go. So they're okay. It's the vertical lines that are too high. Using screen panel.height. I don't want to do screen panel.height. I want to use grid. What do I want? I want to use grid height times block size, don't I? Yeah. Grid height times block size. How many brackets do I need there? There we are. Now we've got a nice grid aligned in the middle and anchored at the bottom, so it's right at the bottom of our level, bottom of the play area. Now let's just shift around my block so it draws in the right, aligned with the grid in the background. Oh, let's see. How many PCs do I have there? I have. Oh, go away. I have one PC and one Mac Mini sitting on top of it that you can see in the stream. You might not be able to see, it's behind the monitors over there. I've also got a couple of PCs off to the side as well. And I've got I share the keyboard and the mouse between the PC and the Mac. So my left monitor, I can just move my mouse over to the left and it's on the PC, drag it, move it here, and the same mouse and keyboard use it on the right. I wonder, I'm going to answer that, might be my wife. Bear with me a moment. Just going to mute my mic. Right, apologies for that. I think it was my wife. She should be coming home soon. It's a mechanical keyboard. No, it's not a mechanical keyboard. It's a Logitech G15. It's quite noisy though. I'm only using my webcam for the mic, so it's picking up a lot of the keyboard. It's also picking up the fan on my Mac Mini as well, so there's quite a lot of background noise. I haven't spent a lot of money figuring out the right bits of hardware to use for the streaming yet, I'm afraid. Let's bring that up. Yep, we're definitely back on again. Anyway, where was I? I just drawn my block. I was just about to get my block that I'm drawing using a draw node in the right place. So that 0, 0, that's fine. But what I guess I kind of want it to be, all it's got to be first is border to start with. This is what I want, and it should just draw it there. And since I'm moving it by block size, yeah, that's nice. It's not perfect in that it's not It's not the way I want to do things in the long term. I want to manipulate the grid coordinates based on key presses and then work out where to draw the block. Now it's all just working because I happen to start drawing the first block in the first place, in the bottom left-hand corner. But at least I got some movement and I got some updates. And we've had an hour and a quarter, so I think that'll probably do me for now. I'm going to spend a little bit of time figuring out how best to structure some of this code I've written. So it's kind of useful code. I've been learning about how to get a key press event listener going on, how to store the keys pressed and released. I might do that slightly cleaner. I won't write any code. I'll do that on the stream next week, but it would help if I kind of jumped in today just without any preparation. So I haven't written particularly good code, but at least I've learned a few things. I've learned about positioning the draw nodes and manipulating the things on screen with the keyboard. It's getting somewhere. Next week I shall refactor my code a bit into a grid class, and then we'll start drawing larger sizes of blocks. Because what the blocks in my game in AquaStax are is they're not just rectangles. They're pointy diamonds and triangles and other things. And then we'll get the vertical movement happening automatically, moving down the screen and then you can cycle left and right. With any luck, we might get them piling up on each other as well. That should be pretty straightforward to do. I'll create the grid class, have a data structure whereby when a block lands on a space, the block gets put into the grid and then drawn separately from the moving blocks that are down the screen. Right. Anyway, that's probably my wife again, telling me to shut up and talk to her. Thanks guys for watching today. I shall see you again next week, hopefully. Thanks. Do follow me, and you'll get notified when things happen. I will mute myself. I'll probably hang around in chat for a little bit. I muted myself. I was just going to say, give me a rating, type in !rate, give me a number, and you should be able to see it over the splash screen as well. Right, thanks for watching. See you next week.